Grace to you and peace. Grace to you and peace, and thank you for coming to this celebration of life for Hayden Ritchhart. When someone we love dies, we have a choice. We can either isolate ourselves or retreat and not think about it, or we can do what you've chosen to do tonight, which is to get together with others who are hurting, who are mourning, who have some wonderful memories, but also have a broken heart. What you've chosen is the harder path, the wiser path, I think, and the more humanizing path. Thank you. Thank you all for being here tonight. I'd like to welcome the family, especially thank you all for being here. It is so important for our students that you are here and they can be with you together. I know a number of the brothers were able to be with you all, and thank you all for coming and making this journey. It's so important as a community that we know that there is this gift of family and friendship, brotherhood and sisterhood that endures even a terrible death and a terrible loss. So thank you for coming. I'd like to see who's here, if I may. I'd just like to identify groups on our campus, and if I can ask you to stand when I do that, just to please do so we can show the family and everybody else who's gathered here. So if I can start, is there any, it's wonderful that the Greek community has turned out and so beautifully, but Hayden was also known in its classes and his flight program. If you are not a Greek, but you're a student here or a friend of Hayden's, may I ask you to stand at this time, please? Thank you. Thank you all for coming. Hayden's a pilot, and whether you're Greek or not, if I can ask all the pilots to stand at this time. All the pilots in the room? Okay. Thank you. Thank you all for coming. If you're a member of the faculty, the staff, the administration, someone here at campus, may I ask you all to stand at this time. Thank you. Thank you for coming. If you're a longtime family friend, some folks like that, would you all please stand at this time? Let's honor your presence as well. So the folks who are been here, thank you. This is when friendship really matters. Thank you so much. And if you're a member of our Greek community or a family member of the Greek community, will you please stand with your brothers and sisters at this time? Thank you. Thank you all for coming. This is an important gathering, and we'll have an opportunity to hear from a number of people who will be here to celebrate Hayden's life. And after we hear from a number of people, there's a time for everyone who has a story, a memory, something you'd like to share. So if you'd like to start thinking about that, maybe a moment or something that stands out to you as special and worthy of remembrance tonight, please consider that when we get to our open time. We'd like to hear from you. And I can say, I certainly know the family will appreciate hearing your stories as well. And because when a son or a daughter goes off to college, as parents, we no longer see you guys every day. And so we depend upon you, their friends, to help us understand who our children become in college. And that's a great gift that you all can provide tonight. So thank you. We'd like to begin tonight I'd like to invite President Barry Butler to come forward. We're going to begin by celebrating Hayden's academic achievement and recognizing him. So thank you, President Butler.
Thank you, Reverend Keck, for all that you do. You're such an important part of this community. To the family and friends who made the trip here, I want to express on behalf of the entire university our sorrow, but thank you. Thank you for having him allowing him to be part of our community for a short time. Obviously, from the people in this room, it was short, but it was impactful in a lot of ways, so thank you. I enjoyed looking at the photos up here, and I see a young person that probably similar to a lot of the folks in this audience right now, sitting behind the wheel of an airplane at, I'm guessing, maybe 9 or 10 years old or something like that. That's a characteristic of people in this room and people at this university. And so having him here on this campus where he was around people that had a common interest and a common sort of life ambitions I'm sure made his time here so impactful on other people around him, and I think that's what you're seeing tonight as well. So thank you for the fact that he chose to come here, you supported him, and you're here now hearing from his friends and others, particularly in the Greek community. To the students in the room, your impact on one another is so important, and sometimes you forget it. And sometimes, particularly as life gets busy as a student, we all know it, life is crazy, you got exams, you got flight things, and then you're out of here, you're graduated. But you will remember others in this room, you'll remember Hayden over time as an important moment in your life. And I don't want you to forget that as you go on. Life gets pretty busy, but you do reconnect through memories, and it's really important to always remember the people around you and the impact they have on you. Earlier this summer, Dean Alan Stolzer and our new provost, Kelly Austin, awarded Hayden's degree posthumously to the family members in a ceremony at the College of Aviation atrium. And it's a way to say that this is what he was working towards. This is an important statement about his academic success. And it's a way to share with the family and friends that academic success while he was here as a student. One of the things that the rest of the students in this room will hear when they graduate is the alma mater. And so what we want to do tonight is, I think we have the a cappellas, and they're going to sing it like they do at graduation. This one's for Hayden, so come on up.
Eagles gather near, we lift our voices loud and clear, soaring high, O alma mater, threads of blue and gold, united we soar in vast open skies. Embry Riddle, we hail thee, great memories will hold. So here's to you, the ERAU, alma mater true. We pledge in love and harmony our loyalty to you. Singing thy praise, remembering the days, coast to coast around the world, our bond forever true, embracing our dreams with pride far and wide. Embry Riddle, we hail thee, great memories will hold. So here's to you, the ERAU, alma mater true. We pledge in love and harmony our loyalty to you.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening. My name is Nicholas Alexander Damiano, and I'm privileged to serve as the Associate Director of Fraternity and Sorority Life here at Embry-Riddle. In addition, I am honored to be speaking on behalf of the entire Student Engagement and Student Union Office. However, I am here to speak about one of my favorite people, our beloved Sigma Chi president and passionate aviator, Hayden Ritchhart. I was privileged to serve as Hayden's advisor and mentor since the first day he joined this community. Before I dive into my speech, I know that Hayden was a deeply thankful man. He ensured to give thanks when it was due. He has inspired me to practice being more thankful. I would like to thank the following people for a variety of reasons, but please know that I would like to thank everyone, but I would need about 4 weeks for that. Firstly, to Dr. Butler, we sincerely thank you for attending this evening and honoring Hayden with his posthumous degree. We are grateful for your leadership. Dean Alan Stolzer of the College of Aviation, we thank you for your leadership and protecting our students. Secondly, to the entire Dean of Students office, thank you for shepherding us through this loss. Thirdly, to Don Feldkamp from Sodexo, we thank him for profoundly generating the support of this event. To Toby Sopp, Chairperson of Touch and Go, thank you for offering to assist with this event without an ounce of hesitation. A loving thank you to my governing councils for giving me the grace and forgiveness these last few weeks. It's been a long one. To my fraternity and sorority life graduate assistant, Izzy Hoare, thank you for picking up the slack without asking and ensuring I'm always doing okay. I want to thank Nagar Afshar, Director of Student Organizations, Karen Gollin, Executive Director of Student Engagement Student Union, and our Dean of Students, Dean Lisa Kohler. These three exemplary women are the real magic behind the curtain. I wouldn't be here without them today. However, the following two groups are most important to thanks. I want to give thanks to the brothers of Sigma Chi for allowing me to guide you through this. Gentlemen, we have many tough days ahead of us, but I hope you know how dedicated I remain to you and this entire community. We will all get through this. I hold this promise dear. Lastly, the most important thank you of the evening to the Ritchhart family. Thank you for bringing Hayden into my life. While I will never understand the hurt you are experiencing, I hope it brings you a slice of solace that I vow to keep Hayden's name alive in our community during my time here and far beyond. I have been blessed to have had Hayden inspire me to be a better mentor, and that is only thanks to you all. If you knew Hayden, you would know that Hayden was sarcastic, witty, made everyone laugh, and most importantly, made fun of me. So, I need to start talking about Hayden because he will whisper to me, Damiano, it's now about me. Everyone, I met Hayden on Friday, September 24th, 2021 at approximately 6:41 p.m. At that exact moment, I looked up, read the bids he had, and without hesitancy, he said, Sigma Chi. In his eyes, you could see the excitement of identifying his forever brotherhood on our campus, paired with the pride in his voice of saying those two words, Sigma Chi. I knew he picked the house that would shape him into the exemplary leader he became. Now, at the same time, I instantly felt that this young man would bring a lot of good trouble to me. Now, let's say Hayden was exceptionally good at keeping me on my toes. Little did I know that day that Hayden would keep me on my toes a lot, and I'm thankful for that. Like many of my students in this room, my relationship with Hayden was forged within my office here in the Student Union. When Hayden was elected president of Sigma Chi, he instantly texted me, telling me he looked forward to working with me. However, a small symbol was included in this text, a symbol that denotes respect, which has become a sign of the Sigma Chi chapter here at Embry-Riddle. Hayden addressed me by my last name. My first name does not seem to exist to the brothers of Sigma Chi, and that's okay. However, this was a distinct identifier of his character, professional, honored tradition, and respectful to the bone. Typically, I meet with chapter presidents every 3 weeks. Still, Hayden strongly insisted that we meet every other week to, quote, learn everything that I had to offer and wanted to know every little thing he could do to make his chapter a better place for his brothers, his loved ones. Hayden was selfless, and every time I met him, it was evident that he wanted the best for every one of his brothers. I want to take just a few minutes, to share a few characteristics and traits of Hayden that I admired. Firstly, I had the honor of bringing the Ritchhart family up to my office where Hayden spent a lot of time. right? You could always tell Hayden was in my office. He would consistently leave candy wrappers all over my file drawer. I would then text him or call him and say, Hayden, you left your trash in my office. And he said without hesitancy every time, oh yeah, I was leaving that for when I come back. Hello, Damiano, it's called responsibility. Ever hear of it? Secondly, even though we met every other week for our hour meeting, he would randomly walk up to my office and without hesitancy would ask, what can I do to make Sigma Chi better today? That is what led this chapter to their international award this summer, Hayden's dedication to the entire Sigma Chi experience. Thirdly, when I first meet with leaders, I have them set two goals, one personal and one for their position. Now, of course, Hayden said he wanted to fill out several. However, I want to share one with you. I will be mindful that this will be mentioned later on tonight. One of Hayden's goals, he said, was to crush the cliques within his chapter. He firmly believed that every chapter member should respect and love one another, in that exact order, respect and love. Let me tell you something, he achieved that, and as his advisor, I cannot be any more proud of him. Fourth, now, my favorite moment with Hayden, during one of our advising meetings, Hayden could tell that I was not my usual self that day. We started off the meeting by playing a round of We're Really Not Strangers, otherwise known as Damiano's Little Red Box. Hayden pulled out a card, and the card read, what is one thing that I need to hear right now? Without skipping a beat, he looked directly at me and said, I know many of us in this community stress you out, and we do not say thank you enough. However, I need to say thank you for all the sacrifice, dedication, and endless love you give us. Even though we may not give much back to you, I hope you know that many of us see the work you're doing, and we are so lucky to benefit from it. You have helped me love Sigma Chi more than I ever thought I would. That conversation will forever be in my heart, reminding me that my work is impactful and meaningful. Thank you, Hayden. Thank you for pushing me to continue to love what I do. I stand in front of everyone tonight, deeply honored to be in your presence. I am humbled to be your advisor, your mentor, your colleague, your confidant, you name it. The loss of Hayden has taught and reminded me of three essential lessons, and if you know me, everything I do comes with a lesson. I would like to share these with you. First, love is patient and kind. Love does not envy or boast. It is not arrogant or rude. It does not insist on its own way. It is not irritable or resentful. It does not rejoice at wrongdoing, but rejoices with the truth. Love bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, endures all things. Love never ends. Hayden was the embodiment of the scripture, and I know that it will live on with all those he loved and inspired. I believe that love can conquer all, that love comes in many shapes and forms, and that love should be the center of all siblinghood. Secondly, live a eulogy-led life. I want everyone in here and watching who is live from far home, especially back in Missouri, to live every day when you wake up to think of something you're proud of, something that inspires you. That inspiration fuels the way you choose to show up and lead. The way you choose to lead will inspire many. With those you inspire, they will go on spreading the good word that you have taught them. And then, and only then, have you led a eulogy-led life. I ask you all in this room, how do you want to be remembered? Have you defined that legacy that you're going to leave behind? Standing right here, right now, Hayden did precisely this. Hayden packed more life into 22 years than someone in their 50s, and I am thankful for that. Lastly, siblinghood is the continuous process of love, forgiveness, and dedication to your chosen kin. Without love at the core, siblinghood is simply a one-dimensional experience rather than a 360-degree all-encompassing moment. Forgiveness comes from a place of understanding and compassion, not approval or agreement. Lastly, chosen family. Everyone in here has chosen family. Chosen family is one of the most critical lifelines of your undergraduate career, like Dr. Butler said. Ensure that you invest in these people, love them forever, and forgive them. I thank you all for listening to my stories and lessons. I hope everyone here has taken away something from Hayden, from our Sigma Chi president, from our aviator. To the Ritchhart family, please know that our forever eagle and you will be in my hearts moving forward. The entire Embry-Riddle family is here for you. Thank you all. Apologies. I would like now to welcome up Sigma Chi President Michael Esposito.
Ladies and gentlemen, brothers of Sigma Chi and members of our community, today we gather to celebrate the life of Hayden Ritchhart, a brother, a leader, and most importantly, a friend. Before I begin, I would like to take the time to thank the university, in particular Nicholas Damiano, for his dedication to our community and chapter, and for the hours that he has put in behind the scenes to make tonight a special one for the entire Embry-Riddle community. I would also like to thank both the active and alumni chapters for the unwavering support through these trying times. Never before in my life have I seen a group of young men come together so tightly in order to support one another and the Ritchhart family. And because of this, I could not be more humbled and proud of this chapter. As the current president of Sigma Chi, I stand before you with a heavy heart, but also with gratitude for having had the opportunity and pleasure to have known someone as exceptional as Hayden. Hayden and I were different in many ways, and I'm not going to stand up here and pretend that he and I were best friends, because we weren't. One of the best qualities about Hayden was his ability to develop relationships with people who are drastically different from himself, due to his genuine care for others and those around him. Naturally, I'm an introverted individual and typically would rather be in a room with a small group of friends instead of in a large group setting. I remember the first time that I walked into Robbie O'Connell's feeling out of place and overwhelmed, but amidst the crowd, Hayden noticed. He gave me a nod, he pulled me aside, and he offered words of encouragement. It was a simple gesture, but it spoke volumes about his character. Hayden's impact on our community was profound. As a contestant in Alpha Zeta Delta Z-Man competition and an avid participant in Derby Days, he was always at the forefront, leading by example. His dedication to our fraternity was evident when he served as our president, and under his leadership, we received the prestigious Peterson Award, an award that is only given to the top 3% of Sigma Chi chapters internationally. But beyond the accolades and the titles, Hayden's true legacy lies in the bonds that he forged and the lives that he touched through both his words and actions. Hayden had an innate ability to sense within someone whether they needed support. Whether you were a close friend or a mere acquaintance, he was there, offering a listening ear or a word of advice. He taught us that the importance of genuine care and compassion, of being there for our brothers and our community. His life serves as a reminder that leadership isn't about titles or awards, it is about making a difference in the lives of those around us. Hayden often spoke about balance, a premise that is often lost in many and often in different ways. If you do not have balance in your life, you are bound to fail in one way or another. If you are to spend all your time partying or playing video games, you will fail due to the lack of the work that you've put in. But conversely, if you are to spend all your time reading textbooks or doing homework, you will fail due to burnout. In order to experience good, you must experience bad. In order to achieve success, you must achieve failure. And in order to climb to the top of the mountain, you must first start at the bottom. If there is anything that we can learn from this moment, it is that the key to living a fulfilling life is that you must find balance in what makes work successful for you. The way of Hayden's passing is a tragic and unexpected one, and one that affects not only the Greek life community, but the Embry-Riddle student body. The fact is that flying is risky, and this could happen to anyone. All of us are grieving, all in our own way, and the most important thing all of us can do is to be there for one another. Whether you knew Hayden personally, or you met him once in an event, or you only knew of him, Any emotion that you have towards his passing is a valid one, and I encourage you all to talk to someone about it and not to let it hold you back from becoming the best version of yourself. A ship is safe in its harbor, but that's not what ships are built for. You can never cross an ocean unless you have the courage to lose sight of the shore. While safety and comfort can be found in familiar surroundings, true potential and purpose lies outside of one's comfort zone. Within the confines of safety, you might find temporary security, but it often hinders personal development and prevents us from realizing our full capabilities. So embark on the risk, seek discomfort, step into the unknown, and remember that a ship can never discover its true purpose unless it's out on the open sea. Thank you. I would now like to introduce IFC and Panhellenic Presidents John Scavo and Sydney Smarsh.
Ladies and gentlemen, members of the fraternity and sorority life community, and friends and family of Hayden. Today we gather to celebrate the life of an extraordinary individual, Hayden Ritchhart, a brother of Sigma Chi whose impact transcended the boundaries of his fraternity and touched the lives of the entire ERAU FSL community. Though I did not have the privilege of knowing Hayden personally, I stand here as the Panhellenic president, a voice of the sorority community, and a proud member of Sigma 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 sorority, profoundly affected by the love and support he demonstrated to my Panhellenic siblings. In times like these, it is easy to feel the weight of sorrow, but let us remember these profound words by William Penn. They that love beyond the world cannot be separated. Death cannot kill what never dies, nor can spirits ever be divided that love and live in the same divine principle, the root and record of their friendship. Death is but a crossing world, and as friends to the sea, they live in one another still. William Penn's words remind us that there are connections that go beyond our physical realm, bonds forged by our shared values of commitment to something that is greater than ourselves. Hayden exemplified this sentiment when he selflessly ran for Alpha Xi Delta Z competition. Hayden's involvement in Z competition was not just a gesture of goodwill. It was a testament to his dedication and unwavering belief in our FSL community values of service and philanthropy. He understood that our collective strength as a community lies in our ability to uplift one another and serve those in need. Hayden's legacy will forever be intertwined with our commitment to these values. As we reflect on Hayden's life, let us remember the moments when his spirit shone brightest among us. Let us appreciate the love he gave and support he offered, not just to his fraternity, but to all of us. Let us look back on his time with us as a source of inspiration and motivation to be better versions of ourselves, to strive for excellence, and to be active citizens who shape our community's future. As we look ahead, let us commit ourselves to honor Hayden's memory by continuing to build bridges of friendship, unity, and love within our Greek community. In doing so, we keep his spirit alive, and we ensure that the legacy he leaves behind remains a guiding light for all of us. Thank you.
I would first like to thank all of you for being here today, and I would also like to thank the brothers of Sigma Chi and the Ritchhart family for giving me this opportunity to speak about Hayden Ritchhart and how who he as a person left a permanent impact on myself and many others here in our community and in this room. At the start of his presidency, we were lucky enough to get him on the IFC podcast, where he gave us some truly beautiful insight on what his chapter and his role in it as president meant to him. When I first asked him if he ever thought that he'd be where he was as the chapter president, he said not one bit. When he first joined, like many of us, and like many people end up doing, he wanted to have a good time and leave the work to others while reaping the benefits from it. But as we all know, he did the exact opposite. Other than having a good time, of course, because he always knew how to do that. But he made it very clear that after just 1 year in the chapter, he realized how much Sigma Chi had already given him. And like many of you in this room, he felt instantly obligated to give that back to his letters and to his brothers. And I can confidently say he has done exactly that. One aspect of his presidency that he held highly was the idea of peer-to-peer leadership. And it was very important to him to always lead his brothers by example, as his worst fear was to be seen as some sort of hypocrite in the eyes of his brothers. He shared that as president, he consistently had to do things that he didn't necessarily want to do, but there were things he knew needed to be done. And through doing so, he set the example for others and motivated many people around him to step up and do the right thing, even if it's not the easy thing, which oftentimes it is not. When I asked Hayden what his fondest memory as a Sigma Chi was, he without hesitation said it was their 50th anniversary, which was not too long ago. While I unfortunately was not there in that moment, he made me feel like I had been with how he described it to me. He painted the picture of seeing 500 plus alumni come from all around the world to convene with a bunch of undergrads in order to celebrate the letters Sigma Chi and honor the great work of the Eta Iota chapter. He made it clear to me that this was a powerful yet humbling moment for him as a Sigma Chi, and it showed him truly how big those letters really are. This is also why it's no surprise that when Brother Lowen Chesley was on the podcast, he answered that very same question with the very same answer. Because Sigma Chi, especially the brothers here of Eta Iota, are most powerful when they are together, and Hayden knew this. So as unfortunate as it is, I know very well that this loss will bring the brothers of the Eta Iota chapter closer than even Hayden could have ever imagined, which in the end was his ultimate goal. Now, one more example that Hayden set was one that will stick with me forever, and that's the example of being able to lead with both confidence and humility. To me, there is no one better than Hayden Ritchhart when it came to this, as he never took himself too seriously, and he always knew how to have a good time, but still get done what needed to be done. Because of this, I would like to finish what I have to say with a funny memory of Hayden, and don't worry, it is PG-13, and most of you probably won't even find it that funny. But the first time I really hung out with him was when a couple of Sigma Chi's and a couple of us Fijis decided to take a trip to FSU for a football game. One of the nights we were there, we all went out, and at the end of the night, we inevitably ended up standing in line at a pizza place. When we finally got the pizza, it was a big box holding what was probably a 24 cut for all of us. And Hayden, being the gentleman he was, didn't mind carrying that box the whole way back to the Airbnb. But as we walked through downtown Tallahassee, what must have been a random FSU freshman came up to us and looked right at Hayden and said, "Hey man, you got any pizza in that box?" And without missing a beat, Hayden responded with, "Nah man, it's empty. I'm just a cardboard pledge." I'm glad you guys found that one funny. Well, as dumb as that joke may seem, it was one that I felt you had to be there to truly appreciate it, and boy am I glad that I was. So thank you all again, and thank you to Hayden Ritchhart for always putting a smile on all of our faces. I would now like to welcome Sigma Chi brother and former president Liam Saskakovich to the podium.
I'd like to begin by thanking every single person for being here tonight to celebrate the life of Hayden. His life is one that is easy to celebrate. Since his passing, I've had a lot of time to process the concepts of mortality and gratitude, things that I think we all find very difficult to clearly understand. In doing so, I've better grasped a few lessons that I'd like to share in honor of Hayden. Here's the first lesson. The more comfortable you become in your own skin, the less you need to manufacture the world around you for comfort. Hayden was always the most comfortable in his own skin. It's what allowed him to light up every room he stepped foot in. His nature consistently reflected a spirit of kindness and goodwill without effort, which made it easy for him to fall in his natural role as president of our fraternity, which I believe he did better than anyone ever could. The second lesson is this: 1 hour of practicing kindness towards a difficult person is equal to 100 hours of practicing kindness towards a friend or loved one. Hayden was always kind when it came to difficult people, as it seems that's when it mattered the most. Hayden was kind when he didn't have to be kind. Hayden took the high road without ever asking for anything in return, as a great leader should. The only exception to this being when he led our flag football team to be the Greek League champions. He was not kind on the field. The third lesson is as follows. The belief that there is some future moment more worth our presence is why we miss our lives. I'm going to say that again. The belief that there is some future moment more worth our presence is why we miss our lives. Hayden put this as memento vivere, which is Latin for remember to live. I hear a lot of people say, appreciate the little things in life. But I think that when our time has come to an end, it'll really be the big things that we appreciate. For a moment, let's appreciate these big things. I'd like everyone to take a deep breath. You have 2 lungs that breathe. Some don't. You have people that love you more than you could ever know. Appreciate those who raised you, who brought you up and into this world. Appreciate your friends, family, the most amazing and wonderful people in your life. Understand and never take for granted your amazing education, your experiences, the community and opportunities you have at this school, your passions, your hopes, and your dreams. Instead of searching for what you do not have, find out what it is that you have never lost. Appreciate the present moment as it is handed to you and say thank you. This is the last lesson that Hayden taught me. I love you all and thank you.
I would like now to personally invite up Zach Gregory, Hayden's little brother in the fraternity.
Hello, everyone. I am Zachary Gregory, and I joined the Sigma Chi fraternity this past spring. I'm here to give a speech as I'm honored to be Hayden's little brother in the chapter. Hayden was indeed the best of all of us. He embodied what it meant to be a true leader and stepped up to help in any time of need. He influenced every brother to do better, love one another, and strive to be the best man they can be. Hayden consistently told me, and did himself, to live your life with no regrets, and that whatever it is you do, make sure you're the best at it. Being his little brother in the chapter, I shared a unique connection with him that others didn't have. Hayden is my role model. He showed me what it took to be a leader, a brother, and a genuinely honest and respectable man. A Sigma Chi gentleman who lived up to every value we share as brothers. I've never met a man with such high ambition as Hayden. He embodied the Sigma Chi value that attributed to our founder, Isaac M. Jordan of High Ambition, who put honor above all else, and in his friendships with others, he was pure, unselfish, and enduring. Hayden shows me what it truly meant to be a Sigma Chi. Living your life to the fullest with the utmost respect for others and being honest and caring in all that you strive to do. Above all, Hayden showed all of us what it means to be a true leader. And he did just that, stepping up in the fall to lead our chapter this past year. One of Hayden's priorities as president was to, quote unquote, crush the cliques in our chapter. He believed that regardless of what brothers thought of one another, in the end, we were exactly that, brothers. Hayden believed that we were all our brother's keeper in the end. As Hayden's little, I vow to continue the work of crushing the cliques in our chapter, and I hope my brothers know that I love them so much. He always devoted his time and care to me, from checking in on my academics and seeing how my day was going. something that I've never experienced because I'm a big brother myself. Trying to set an example for my little brother constantly. I have an actual older brother, so I don't know how it is I understand how it is to be a big brother, and it's a pain. But for Hayden, he made it look so easy. He gave me the confidence to be myself, and we shared so many conversations that I didn't think I was ever capable of talking to anybody about. I quickly was able to open up to him about my struggles. This summer, I went through one of the most challenging moments of my life academically. I got on the phone with Hayden, and we talked for a long time. He helped me find the light and keep pushing when I didn't think I was fit to do so anymore. Hayden constantly pointed me in the right direction when there was a fork in the road, or I had made a mistake. He was always there to pick me up. Without him, I would not be the man I am today. His selflessness and unwavering care for anyone and everyone truly set him apart. It is truly amazing to see this community come together and celebrate the life of such a remarkable man and brother, Hayden Ritchhart. I would now like to welcome Jane, the president of the Student Government Association, to the stage.
Hello, everyone. As some of you might know, my name is Jane, and I'm this year's SJ president. First of all, I want to give my condolences to Hayden's family and friends who are here and those who couldn't be. When Nicholas reached out, I wasn't sure if I should do this. I didn't know Hayden personally, and I didn't know if I was the right person to talk about who he was. However, after thinking about it, I felt it was important for me as an individual and for us as SGA to show our respect towards Hayden and make an effort to know him a little now. With that in mind, I reached out to Michael Esposito, the current Sigma Chi president. Through his words, I learned that Hayden was a supportive, positive, generous, and thoughtful friend, confidant, and leader. These traits embody what it means to be a good student and person within the Embry-Riddle community. I know that becoming leader is hard, without compassion, kindness, and love. As president of Sigma Chi, and based on what Michael said, I know he was exactly that type of leader, and he will be remembered as a great friend and mentor. If there's anything we can help with, please reach out to me or any SGA member. We want to be there for you in this hard time. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jane, and thank you all who've spoken. We have a time now for you to share your stories. This is the time where if you have something that is funny, that is the witty, some moment that'll help us laugh, please do. It's a deeply felt experience of sorrow and loss. We need that as well. It's okay to laugh. It's okay to cry. So please, at this time, if folks would like to come forward and just share a story. As I said, the family is a chance for them to understand who their son became while he was here. So please.
Hello, I'm Ken Boarding, class of 71, yes, 1971. I just want to talk about Hayden from the standpoint of what he represented. When we were here in 1969 is when I started. Most of the classrooms at Embry-Riddle had wheels, tires, and a license plate because they were double wide trailers. 12 young men decided to start a fraternity and try to be a national fraternity. They were leaders on campus. They asked me to join, I turned them down. I was a Vietnam vet, combat vet. I didn't want to be in any fraternity, didn't understand the Greek life. Within a few months, they had started a local chapter, and I'm the first Alpha class president of the pledge class. These young men represented leaders on campus. There were other fraternities, but they wanted this school to succeed and make their diplomas worth a fortune in the future. Because it was scary at that point in that school. So they were strong leaders. Hayden is part of that lineage. He was a strong leader. People who are not in the Greek community do not understand fraternities and sororities are not in our current culture, but they're not in by people who don't understand what we represent. We represent values, beliefs, and leadership. And the sororities and the fraternities in this room represent strong leadership and moral values. Hayden was part of that tradition, and we were fortunate to have him with us for the time we had. Thank you.
I love a microphone. My name is James Aarons. I graduated in 1990, not as old as Ken, didn't serve in Vietnam. My dad did. My dad's a Sigma Chi. Both of my brothers are Sigma Chi's. I came here in 86 thinking I was just gonna slide right in. Didn't happen, blue grades, had to pledge twice. But I came here, I made my mark, I graduated, went on to go work for Boeing. And one of the things, I was an air show announcer. And Eric Bearden was the pilot I narrated for, and he was sponsored by Embry-Riddle before Matt Chapman. And unfortunately, he had an accident, not at an air show, but otherwise. One of my brothers, Carl, had an accident on Mount Rainier, and he was killed. When we had his service, and I did his eulogy, and I looked out, all I saw were the Sigma Chi brothers from the University of Washington in the audience. And it was really amazing. It was amazing. But here, I'm seeing all of Hayden's brothers. I got to know Hayden a little bit, not a lot, because I didn't hang out at the house. I'm too old for that. But I come here every quarter or semester, and I help with the initiation. And so I helped initiate Hayden, and I also then recently was able to do it with him. And he led the entire chapter to the best initiation I've ever seen, Tim's ever seen. It was amazing. And that's part of his leadership. Because Sigma girl over here stole my line. That death cannot kill what never dies, nor can spirits ever be divided that love and live in friendship. For this is the comfort of friends. And all the guys here are just like, get off the stage, Gassy. So I just wanted to close by saying that I did have the privilege of getting to know him a little bit, helping him become a Sigma Chi. Found that he had met our Jordan standard. Our standard by Isaac M. Jordan is a man of good character, a student of fair ability, with ambitious purposes, a congenial disposition, possessed of good morals, having a high sense of honor, and a deep sense of personal responsibility. That was Hayden. Now, I get up in front of crowds, I get emotional, but that's not what this is about. This is a celebration of life. And if you want to hear about his life, Mom, let these guys talk, because they will tell you stories that will just make you laugh and laugh and laugh. And when I saw the Zoom call, Mom's eyes were like wide open, big smile on her face. She just loved, she wanted to hear every story. What did he do? What? Not my Hayden. Oh yeah, he was a bad cook. And I donated a stove to the house, and it's not to be dedicated to Hayden. I want you keep it clean and be respectful of it, because that wouldn't be Hayden. He would have done that. Anyway, this is a celebration of life. Let's hear some good stories.
Hello. My name's Tim Melnick. I'm called the Grand Praetor. I'm the regional guy for the Sigma Chi fraternity. So I work with chapters on initiations, recruitment, communications, leadership, stuff like that. So I'd like to share my favorite memory of working with Hayden. The chapter had been preparing for initiations, which is a substantial production by the chapter, and it takes a lot of people to put it together. They rely heavily on the leadership of the president, or as we call it, the consul, which of course was Hayden. The chapter had been preparing and all things were in order. I looked over my texts. I'll put these off. I looked over my texts the other day, and he was obviously, he had his steps and he was putting everything in order. The initiation went off without a flaw. It was perfect. It was almost over, and it had been perfect. It came down to the last part to be delivered by Hayden, which was a substantial memorization part. I felt like a coach sitting in the dugout watching a no-hitter, and we were down to the ninth inning with 3 outs to get. Hayden absolutely nailed it. It was by far the best initiation I have been a part of. I got a text from Hayden the next day. Melnick, thank you again for coming to initiation. I believe it was the best I have been a part of. Always an honor running it as consul, something I will never forget. I will see you next weekend. Be ready for Province Workshop. Thank you, Hayden, for the job you did and making sure I was ready for Province. People come and go again in your life. People come and go in your life. You cannot worry about the gaps in time. All you can worry about is the time you have with them. All you can worry about is the time you have with them. As you get older, the more you realize that making the most of that time is all that matters. In hoc signo in case.
Hi, my name's Rob Papandrea. I'm an Embry-Riddle graduate, and I have the honor of being the chapter advisor for Sigma Chi. And I want to leave you 2 thoughts that Hayden reminds me of every day. One is audacity, and the other is high ambition. And I've been involved with Sigma Chi for, well, you can see the gray hair. It's been a few decades. And I get a privilege of being involved at the collegiate level and also with alumni. And I can't tell you how many times I offer myself to help out however I can, no matter what that is. Well, Hayden clearly understood that and was shameless in having the audacity to pick up the phone and call and ask for help. And you're surrounded in this community by some amazing people, whether it's in your peer group, in the campus staff, or those that are here within the, just the alumni community of Embry-Riddle. And the reason why I call out this audacity is because Hayden recognized when there were opportunities and strong arms around him. But somebody said it earlier, he always closed with this amazing amount of gratitude. So whether I was at a kid's soccer game or trying to pick my kids up from school, no matter where he caught me in the crosshairs of the day or a text or whatever, he always closed with gratitude. And I know what it's like and how it's intimidating to accept the help that others put out, regardless of the circumstance, but have that audacity, have that gratitude. And then the second is this amazing amount of high ambition, which I think is continuously emulated in hearing everyone talk. And I want to tell this story of about a year ago, it was probably like 72 hours after he became consul. And he calls me, and there's a hurricane coming to Daytona, and he's in one part of his head planning an evacuation route, and the other part of his head, he's trying to figure out how to be president. And he's talking, I think, to Damiano at the same time, and I'm like, wow, this guy's really got it together. And he's like, all right, I think we got the plan together. We're gonna do this. Oh, by the way, I got an email from an alumni. There's this paper due. And I'm like, it's okay. No, we gotta get it done. And he was really persistent about getting this paperwork filed for the fraternity. And he just wanted to protect the house, wanted to get the paperwork done. And he's kind of stubborn. And eventually I just figured I was going to win him over with logic. And I said, Hayden, the guy who sent you that email, the hurricane's going to hit his house before it hits yours. Oh shit, that's right. I'm good, thanks, man. And that was just Hayden. You could get him with logic, but man, that determination was there. And so I leave you, don't forget to have that audacity and strive for that high ambition.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for coming. For those who don't know me, my name is Sterling Stein. I'm the current vice president of Sigma Chi. And I'm going to repeat something that I've said more than once since Hayden's passing, and that is, although it might be too late to get to know Hayden, it is not too late to get to know his stories. There's a lot of us in this room who maybe didn't get the privilege to get to know Hayden on a personal basis while he was with us, but that does not mean you can't get to know his legacy. So I'm calling on everyone who did know him to spread his stories. They say that every man has two deaths. The first one when his physical body dies, and the second when his name is spoken for the last time. So please, all of you, come up and tell a story, big or small, because every time you speak his name, you are keeping him alive. Thank you.
Love the kid. Really simple. I am going to miss walking into the back of the house. The house full of birds. And hearing, at him. I'm going to miss that smile that was like this wide every single time I saw it. And I am going to miss hearing some of the stuff that he did that you are never going to hear. I will tell you, you talk about the spirit of youth in our fraternity. He sucked me back 35 years like that. And I figured out as a Yankee, you have to put a hat and a carry-on to get down here in his arm. Because the first time I met him was on a call, white shorts, no shirt, and a cowboy hat. I thought that was unusual. Came to my first meeting, white shorts, no shirt, and a cowboy hat. Except that time he had boots on too. He is, and always will be, really close to our heart. I agree with you, his name should never be said. I love him. Thank you for sharing.
Is it working? All right. So, I thought I would hear myself again, but yeah. So I don't know what I'm gonna say, but I wanted to start with pretty much like something. Maybe I thought I used to think it was annoying, but now it's one of the things I miss the most. And so he used to have this really late flight block, and I'm like nocturnal, so I stay up late. He knows this, and when he was president, so how it works, we all have a key to our room, and when you're president, you have the key to every room. So for him, there was no privacy. So I would basically, everyone else be asleep, Brady be asleep, Sabula would be asleep, and he knows I'm up. So it'd be like 1, 2 a.m. He got food from late night, and he's coming in, and he always has a signature saying he would say at the door, which I'm not going to repeat. And I hear my door jingling. It's like, oh, here we go. Like I'm up, but like I'm kind of falling asleep. I'm watching TikTok as I'm unwinding. I'm going to fall asleep soon. And he would just come in there, barge in. Just, what's up, dude? Like, what are you doing? I'm like, the lights are off. I'm tucked in bed. Like, what does it look like I'm doing? But he would just sit there until like 3:30 in the morning. Half the time he wouldn't even say anything. He just would sit there, eat his lunch, look at TikToks, and then he wouldn't even show me the TikToks. He'd send it to me through text, and I'm 5 feet from him. But yeah, I think the one thing I've learned from this is like the moments that, 'cause I used to hate it, the moments that, used to be the most annoying for me are now the moments I look back and it's like, I wish I had that back. Sometimes I look at my door and it's like, come on, like, come in here. Like, show me some stupid TikTok you just saw. But yeah, I guess that's the thing. I don't know, I'm not big on like, oh, here's a lesson learned, but the lesson I would say that's here is, yeah, those things that might annoy you or end up being the things you're gonna miss the most. So if you can appreciate them somehow, obviously they have to annoy you to appreciate them, but appreciate them.
Thank you for that, Bryce. Always the wordsmith. Damian, I'll keep this as PG as possible. So most of the stories I have of Hayden are not appropriate, but a good example. So a few of us went out to California this summer to visit Andrew on the 4th of July. And it's the second day there. We're going to the beach, and all of a sudden Hayden disappears. Don't know where he went. We're there for a few hours. We start to wonder where he went. And he shows up, and he got a henna tattoo saying Godspeed on his chest. But the thing is the poor lady that did it did not speak English, and it looked like she took a crayon and just drew it on his chest. It was peeling off the next day. Every morning we would go into his room. He would just sleep shirtless, wherever he passed out, and he would just peel a letter off. So by the time the trip ended, there was nothing left. Alternatively, another story, a few people decided to go to Atlantic City, and he made this decision probably like 12 hours. Like he's like, all right, I'm buying the flight, I'm going. But they told him that it is black suit attire only. That is all he packed. So he got on the plane, wore a black suit and a cowboy hat, and he showed up to Atlantic City with that and his phone charger. And no one was wearing a black suit. He was the only one doing it. So that's just the type of person he is. Hopefully, more people will share stories. I don't have any other ones that I can say here.
Yeah, we have microphones on all sides. So if there are other stories as well, folks would like to share, please do. We'd love to have this great, the Sigma Chi. Yeah, keep on coming. Keep on coming.
So the AC story was me. Hayden was like really good at making the best out of any scenario in the world, which is probably the best thing for all of you to ever do. Because like not everything's always gonna be a lot of fun for all of us, but the best thing to do is to find the best of it and make the most fun possible. He was good at that. In AC, we told him Atlantic City's in New Jersey. It's like a really brutal Vegas. Casinos are like, it's like not ideal. And we like to go there every now and then and have a little bit of fun. And we invited Hayden. Hayden's from Missouri, so I don't know if you guys have casinos, but I know we had him in Jersey, so we invited him. And he came on up, and we told him it was black suit only. So he wore his black suit, and he flew into Philadelphia, and then asked us to pick him up. But by the time he landed, it was a little too late for us to drive to go get him. So then he took a bus from Philadelphia in a black suit. And if you guys know Philadelphia, you're not wearing a black suit just for no reason in Philadelphia. It's, you know. And so he got to the casino, and we were there for 8 hours at that point. He showed up around 5 p.m., and he was just like, he walked in this black suit. He's like, what are you guys doing? We're all in Hawaiians, just hanging out casually, of course. And he was not happy, but he made the most of it, and he was quite good at it. So it prolongs into furthermore if you find me later. But make the most out of every little scenario you get, because the one thing he did was he always had a blast.
Hello. My name is Colin. I was initiated in the fall. Hayden was not my Magister, but he was our consul, and I think I was scared of him more than I was of my actual Magister. Hayden was really good at finding the balance in life. He was somebody I could go to with the most serious problem, a relationship problem, a life problem. But at the same time, I could go to him with the stupidest idea I've ever had, and I'd be like, all right, let's go do it. Hayden showed me a lot of things and a lot of lessons. One of my key takeaways from Hayden was never talk shit about somebody standing next to a pool with everything in your pockets. Hayden did not care. I was tackled into that pool, and I am thankful for the permanent scar I have hitting the pool wall as I tried to fight him away. I'm gonna miss that guy, and it's hard when you lose a brother, and it's hard when you lose somebody who's like an older brother.
In a moment, we want to come forward, or yeah, just yeah, please do.
Hi, my name is William McNeil. I was initiated also in the fall pledge class. I had the pleasure of working with Hayden this past spring. I was the risk manager for the chapter, so I worked with him on a lot of projects and stuff that we had happening. Hayden, he was always there for me when I was in that position. Anytime I'd be at an event or like a party, walking around, I'd be stressed out of my mind. Everybody'd be asking what's going on. I'd be like, nothing, nothing, nothing. And I'd just walk away. But he'd always follow me, or he'd always like just grab me on the shoulder and just like stop me. And he would like genuinely check in with me and make sure I was doing okay and make sure that everything was going fine, that I didn't need any help. And he just, it made me feel good. Like, it made me feel like I actually had somebody there supporting me when I needed it the most. Every time I pulled up to the house, like when I first initiated, it was kind of difficult at first because I was still getting to the groove of things. But every time I walked up, he'd turn around. And everybody in the chapter calls me Silly Willie now. But he started I don't know where it came from in his mind, but I'm not arguing with it. I like it. He'd turn around and he'd be like, Silly Willie! And it's stuck. Everybody says it, and now it's something I appreciate a lot. I look back on fondly. But there's one story I have, and it's not anything spectacular, not like the black suit story. But we were standing in the kitchen before a party started, and if anybody ever saw me as risk manager at a party, they knew I walked around with like 20 pounds of gear on. And so I had like everything in my pockets or in my waistband. Of course, I had a pair of scissors. And so we're standing in the kitchen, and I think he needed to open something, and he turns around, and he's like, "Hey, Silly Willie, you got a pair of scissors I could use?" And of course, shoot, whip it out. And he just stands there, mouth agape, and he's just bewildered at the fact that I have a full-size pair of scissors in my pocket. And he's like, well, I was gonna say how bad of a risk manager you are for not having scissors on you, but I also go fuck myself. So, thank you.
How's it going? My name's Jack. It's pretty hard to follow up Will's poetry that was, but one of the more like family-friendly stories I have is we do the 5K run every year, and this last spring, it was really late at night, like probably like 2, 3, maybe even later in the morning, and it was just like pretty much Hayden and I just like left, maybe like one or two other people, And I was like, oh, he's like, we got a 5K to run in the morning. He's like, damn straight, we have a 5K to run. I'm like, dude, I was like, I don't know. I was like, I think I'm just Uber home. I'll see you tomorrow night. He's like, if I'm waking up, you're waking up. I was like, all right. I was like, you call me at 6 in the morning. If you call, I'm up. And he calls me at 5:45 in the morning. He's like, I never went to bed. He's like, where are you? He's like, where are you at? We got a 5K to run. I was like, God damn it. I was like, can you come pick me up? I was like, I cannot be driving at this point. So he came pick me up, and we get setting up for the 5K, and we go to run, and he goes to set up, and he starts running, and man, he's just like trekking along, doing pretty well. It comes to lap 2, and he just like heels over and just absolutely unloads everything from the last 2 nights, and then finishes, grabs water, and just keeps on running. And I think that's a lesson that we can take away is Hayden always just went through everything life and worked hard. So
So I know that there are definitely some stories aren't Sigma Chi brothers, so I wanted to break the ice for the rest of us. Or stories about him. I was not super close with Hayden, but me and him both ran for a Z competition in 2022. And my favorite memory, whenever I think of Hayden as a person, I think of him in his little cropped plaid shirts and his little tiny denim shorts that he was wearing with his big cowboy boots, because that man loved short shorts more than anything, and he loved to show off his stomach. So every time I think about Hayden, I think of him in that silly little cowboy outfit. And that just kind of speaks to the kind of person he was, to just, anytime you saw him, just made you smile, so.
I'm back. So I too have been sitting here for the last 10 minutes trying to think of a story that I can say here without everyone just getting up and leaving. And something that always made me laugh was during our chapter meetings, the way our chapter is set up is Hayden would often speak soon after either Michael Esposito or Liam. And you just heard both of their speeches. They both have a way with words. Hayden was not a huge fan of public speaking. So something that always made me laugh is at the end of chapter, after Michael and Liam had spoken, Hayden, it would be his turn, and he would go, this is my best corn-fed accent, hold on. Nah, dude, I'm not saying that after them. Why'd I always have to speak after them? Nah, I'm gonna sound like an idiot, screw this. And then that's how it would end every time. So, yeah, that's hilarious.
So a couple months ago, Hayden's family heard me awkwardly stutter about how Hayden would always bring me on little road trips to the airport, because, who doesn't want a free ride to the airport? But one of these rides, we were voting on who was going to be our Z-Man contestant for this next semester, and Hayden was one of our choices. And so I'm talking to him, and my first thought, I look over and I'm like, hey man, you going for some hoochie mamas? And he looks over with, his hand just riding out the window, Zach Bryan on the radio. He just looks over and out of nowhere, just some inspirational quote. One does not climb mountains to be seen by the world. One climbs mountains to see the world. So, that says one thing about Hayden, it's that he didn't climb mountains to be seen by hoochie mamas, so.
Anyone else with witticisms from Hayden? Okay, there we go.
I'm Hayden's mom. And I just wanted to take a second to tell you that he loved it here so much. He loved all you guys so much. And he had a really, really good time here, and you guys know that. But a couple of weeks before, he was giving Hannah some advice at breakfast one morning. Remember this? She's getting ready to apply to college, and they were talking about her choices. And she's looking at different schools, and they were discussing that, and this was his advice to her. Because his experience was a little bit different, because his first 2 years were at the United States Naval Academy, and that's a little bit different experience than down here. And also because his freshman year there is when COVID hit. And so some of you guys lived through that either in high school or at the beginning of college, and that's very, very different than, what you're going, what you have now. But and she's looking at maybe larger schools, smaller schools. And when he was talking about it, he said, Hannah, you got to pick somewhere where you can have a real college experience, because I had to cram 4 years of college into 2 years. And I think with the help of the Sigma Chi House, he was very successful at doing that here, guys. So I know that he had a really, really good time, and that a lot of you guys helped him do that, that all of this community helped him do that. And so we thank you for that, because he really did enjoy his time here, and he was well-rounded, and he was balanced, and we appreciate the university awarding his diploma and recognizing that, and we appreciate everything that they've done here today. He was a leader all the way through. From the time he was a little tyke, he was super competitive. We've had so many discussions and memories and things that we've talked about ever since this happened. But he always loved to lead. He always loved to play sports, and you got to see that with all the intramurals and things that he was involved in here. And I'm glad that he helped you guys bring Greek championships, to the Sigma Chi House, because he did that the whole time through high school. With our sports too, and he just loved to compete, so I'm glad that he had that outlet here too. Anyway, yeah, he loved it here, and he loved you guys, and I'm just glad he made so many friends, and that he was able to have those experiences here with you all. He had a really, really good time, and I just want to say thank you for everything you did for him.
Thank you so much. And he mentioned his experience with applying for schools. We pulled his application materials, and so I just want to hear his voice as well. Get a sense of where he came from, what brought him here. Then after we do that, we will have a bagpiper play a very special hymn, and then we'll have a special ceremony with Sigma Chi. So let's hear Hayden's own words. When he applied to Embry-Riddle, he wrote, Working on a farm taught me the true values of hard work, to never be afraid to get your hands dirty. I often performed laborious tasks such as cleaning out grain bins, working on machinery, building fences, and working cattle. So as you think about the legacy to carry forward, the legacy you all gave to him, don't be afraid of hard work. Don't be afraid to do the dirty stuff. His personal statement on coming to Riddle: I consider myself lucky to have had the opportunities of growing up on a farm and fly planes. I am from a farming community, so I have watched crop dusters fly from a very young age. And maybe that's something you guys shared with him out there. Due to my fascination with planes, I began flying last summer and obtained my private pilot's license. I have over 50 hours in the air. I'll be finishing up my license. I don't have much time left to complete it. I have a passion not only for planes, but for being in the air, as I believe it is a feeling like none other. Hayden's words to us here at our aviation school, and especially to all the fellow pilots and those in the College of Aviation. So thank you all. Thank you very much for sharing stories. We'll have a reception afterwards, a chance to continue the sharing of stories and laughter. But now I'd like to invite Jack McSwiggan to come forward for the playing of Amazing Grace. Nicholas, did you want to come up and we can say a few words about ritual? You all, most of you are Greek, so you understand the power of ritual. It's a way of giving identity, structure, purpose, comfort. There's something wonderful that happens when people do something together. It's filled with such meaning, a sense of grounding, a sense that despite it all will be well. That is the power of ritual. I'm grateful for the Sigma Chi brothers. They'll be sharing that ritual with us. And after the ritual, when they conclude, we'll have a moment of silence just to be still, to experience that ritual together, and then we'll have our final blessing.
Hello, everyone, again. I stand here as a fearless leader of the fraternity sorority community. These past 3 years at Embry-Riddle have given me everything and more. Some things that people will never know. A sincere thank you to Jack for the heartwarming rendition of Amazing Grace. Truly amazing. As we head into the final part of the evening, we want to speak on the importance of ritual during the time of loss. Rituals are a feature of all known human societies. They have defied the test of time, always finding their way back, even when lost to the great abyss. It's important to note that rituals are not always ceremonial. They do not include only the worship rites and sacraments of organized religions, but also rites of passage, atonement and purification rites, oaths of allegiance, dedication ceremonies, coronations, and presidential inaugurations. Whether you know it or not, you probably have a personal ritual that you partake in. My intoxicating reverence and sincere love for my ritual was seated on this campus 10 years ago. Even though I am not a Riddle alum, I was initiated on this soil. One common connection most people have in this room is being in a fraternity or sorority with over 100-year-old rituals. These rituals are not just a set of traditions or ceremonies. They reflect the values, principles, and teachings that our organizations hold sacred. Fraternity and sorority rituals are not mere formalities or empty traditions. They are essential elements to the fraternal experience that foster a sense of belonging, personal growth, and commitment to shared values. They serve as a coded secret language for members worldwide to speak in a common tongue, regardless of etymology, creed, or differences. When conducted with care, respect, reverence, and honor, these rituals can have a profound and lasting impact on members' lives, shaping them into responsible, ethical, and engaged citizens of the world. As we celebrate the rich traditions of our common connection, let us remember the significance of our rituals and the positive influence on us, not personal volition. We are never above our letters. I am honored to call up, once again, someone I am very proud of, Sigma Chi President Michael Esposito, as he presents the Sigma Chi White Rose Ceremony. Let us focus our energy and love towards Michael as he bravely leads us.
For those of you who I have not had the privilege of meeting, my name is Michael Esposito from Wilmington, Delaware. I am a Sigma Chi, a fraternal brother, and a pledge brother of Hayden Ritchhart. We are about to conduct the Sigma Chi White Rose Ceremony, a public ritual which we use to honor a brother who has entered the chapter eternal. As a matter of background for our friends here present, our fraternity was founded in 1855 on lofty principles, hence the White Cross emblem which we wear to complement the White Cross. The flower of Sigma Chi is the white rose. Brothers in Sigma Chi, we are gathered here to pay our tribute of love and respect for the memory of our beloved brother, Hayden Michael Ritchhart. On the day when the white cross of Sigma Chi was placed upon Hayden, in his heart, he accepted our way of life by lofty principles. The white cross that he wore on the outside was but a representation of the life that he led from the inside. Today, let us remember the legacy that Hayden has left in our hearts as we celebrate his life. We met because of his passing from our circle to the chapter eternal, and yet in our hearts is the confidence that his living spirit hovers near. To his dear ones and friends present, we would bring our expression of sympathy. To his memory, we would offer our homage for his qualities of heart and mind. As a friend, as a brother among us, and as a man of affairs, we have known him as a loyal and devoted to the high ideals of the White Cross which we wear. His friendship was enduring, his generosities were large, and his life was an inspiration. He loved his fraternity, but he knew that its helpfulness and sympathies were meant to be broader than the bounds of the organization. His loyalty was grounded in the faith that fraternalism stands, finally, for better citizenship, for a more noble civilization, and for higher ideals of life in its service to man and its reverence to God. Psalms 23. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He resorteth my soul. He leadeth me in the path of righteousness for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadows of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou anointest my head with oil, my cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me for all days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. The souls of the righteous are in the hand of God, and he is their strength and their redeemer. In the sight of the unwise, their departure is taken for utter destruction, but they are in peace. For though they be perished in the sight of men, and yet their spirits released from their bodies of flesh, their hope is full of immortality. And having been a little chastised, they shall be greatly rewarded. For God proved them and received them to himself. The righteous live forevermore. Their reward is with the Lord, and the care of them is with the Most High. Therefore shall they receive from the Lord's hand a glorious kingdom and a victor's crown of righteousness. In this place and reverent moment, the thought is dominant that life is true, friendships are indestructible. Because the spirit in man, death cannot have the victory. That which we call death is but the gateway to the life immortal, for the life of the spirit does not die. Inasmuch our dearly beloved brother wore over his heart the white cross of Sigma Chi, whose immaculate whiteness symbolized to us the purity of his motives. Therefore, it is most appropriate that he bear over his heart our emblem, and that we lay white roses within the white cross. In token of the sweet memories we will always cherish of him whom we love so well. Let us unite in prayer. Almighty God, with whom do live the spirits of just men made perfect, after they are delivered from their earthly prisons, we humbly commend the soul of this, thy servant, into thy hands, who art our Creator, most humble beseeching thee that is be the most precious in thy sight. Amen. Today, Hayden calls back to us, I have fought the good fight. I have finished my work. The white cross of Sigma Chi has gained new luster by my life. So mote it be. If all the brothers of Sigma Chi in the family, in the Ritchhart family, could come up and take a white rose and place it within the white cross.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that ritual with us. You all have been given the light of Hayden's life. It certainly is a great light. And you have with you a light here in your hands. We invite you to take it with you, put it on your desk, keep it in your car, someplace that's special to you. When you see it, remember Hayden, remember his wonderful qualities, remember the stories that can be told publicly as well as the ones that cannot be told publicly. Thank you all for coming. Thank you for being a blessing to one another. Thank you for blessing the family and everyone. Thank you for blessing us. This part of the celebration is concluded. Let's continue the celebration with the eating of good food and the continued sharing of stories. Thank you all for coming. Go with God's blessing. Amen.